Welcome back to my creative cosmic portal wild thing. I'm taking a few weeks and therefore a few episodes to go back and retrospect on 2025. If you also recall, we've been discussing Walt Disney's creative process. It's a little series of steps that I use a lot in my own life that I've been sharing here on the channel. Go back and check out the episode called The Realist Phase for more on that. But Walt Disney had these steps. It was a triumvirate comprised of the dreamer, the realist, and the critic. And those three steps you have to separate from each other. Each one has a job to do and they can't overlap. They actually interfere a great deal with the work of the other if you let them bleed over, which we often do. So I'm trying to just be in the critic phase right now. Retrospecting is definitely a critic job. And criticism, it doesn't have to be mean. We're going to take the good, we're going to take the bad, we're going to take them both, and there we're going to have the facts of my life. We're just going to look at this. I'm not going to be really harsh or mean on myself, especially this year, because it truly was a miracle that I dreamed and realized as much as I did, given how little stability and support I've had. So I am really proud of my tenacity. I have a lot of tenderness towards myself about it. It was hard emotionally, which is why I feel like I didn't really get to soak in my successes, because I just felt like I just pulled it off by the skin of my teeth and it was scary. Also, I lost more friends this year because of my situation. Materialist people who were just disgusted by my choice to stay in poverty and persist in my art career rather than sell my soul back to the hustle and grind that I've been recovering from for years. Why go back to the scene of the crime? I chose not to give up on myself no matter what. And there are many casualties in that process. So I'm just not in the mood to be harsh on myself right now. However, I will be looking at the elements of this show, Artists in the Wild, to see how I can tighten up the message and delivery of what I'm doing here. So this is kind of a twofold process where it's like me processing my own immediate past and also taking you guys along and hopefully refining what we're doing here together on this channel. So let's jump in. Being an artist is a service job. I'm in service to the culture, to making culture, which I say all the time. Culture is the soil our consciousness grows in. It is the dream material that allows us to push and expand the limits of what our reality is. I carry the work forward of my artistic lineages. I'm in service to them, to my many, many influences. And it's not a repeating, but it's a building upon. It's a reassembling of those elements in my unique way. The artist's life is one of immersion. It's immersion in the present. We have to get into the zone and find the flow. That's all the language that we always use about it. It's because we're channeling. We basically channel the divine and interpret it in our own personal way. And I'm always surprised by how it comes out. Like my paintings, I just watch and see what happens. When you move from student to apprentice to professional to master of your craft, you don't have to think anymore. You're not trying to be something. You are. You just are the thing. So for an artist who's been at it for a long time, like I have, you just become the art. My life and my work are inseparable from just my being. Artists embody a way of seeing and being that is usually very different from what we were taught, very different from what is considered normal. And that has to be protected because this world will try to kill your creativity. I mean, first, that's like the thing they come for. Creativity is an act of God. That is how That is what God did. This is the creation that we are living in, and creativity is that best way to connect in my book. But the world we live in, they want us numb and dumb, addicted and constricted, poisoned and paralyzed. And 2025 revealed more of how the overculture and the ruling class does this to the peasants. And I don't expect this pattern of revelations to stop, so I'm just hoping to become more skilled in processing them as we go. Grieving, healing, and just getting back to creating without really skipping a beat. When you're a real deal artist, you and your life are the art. It's all one. How we do one thing is how we do everything. During the first half of 2025, I was still in Baltimore. I was renovating an old historic house in my old stomping grounds, a neighborhood called Fells Point.
And you guys make it dirty. Thanks for making it awesome. Yeah.
The house belongs to a friend who doesn't live there full time, so I was alone. And in order to create a workspace for myself, I had to move mountains of hoarded piles and rip up disintegrating carpet. It took months before I had just a table in the basement to make my glorious messes on. And I also love bringing delight and joy to the neighborhood. So one of the first things I did was hop on a tiny local tradition of decorating the front windows. I really do love this goose in the window with its April showers vibes, little raincoat. I have my own plastic springtime menagerie that you'll see in a minute here. But this is a full-scale model of the street that I was on. Just amazing, made out of foam core, super detailed, including the window that we're looking through with the model in the window. The meta levels, so cool. And then a few weeks later, that same goose had a new costume on. Get a load of this cuteness. Definitely bright. Needed some front lighting, so this turned out great, huh? I love those red and white lights. They're so old. They're like from when I lived here before 2010. There's a lot of foot traffic and tourists that pass by, and two big windows on the street. And to me, this was like having a captive audience to make art installations for, to lift the spirits of everyone passing by. And I began decorating for the holidays, every holiday. And I was like really feeling like one of those little old ladies with all the colorful gewgaws and stuff on display. And I started getting really into it. I was not sad about it. I really enjoyed it. Here is the next installment of Why Can't I Just Leave Well Enough Alone? I just can't. That's why. Because I'm an artist. So I'm going to take off these shamrocks, which seem a little brutalist shamrock to me. And I'm going to try to make them a little softer and personalize this little wreath a little bit for St. Patrick's Day.
Place. In the Beatles documentary, The Complete Beatles, this was considered the Beatles documentary before Anthology was released in 1990. It explains that their touring was exhausting. And so the narrative wants to tell us that two things. One, they'll say that it was exhaustive, and then they'll say that the Beatles were a perpetual writing machine. They were always writing. They were writing when they were on tour. They were writing on film sets. They were writing in the studio. They were writing when they were on holiday or vacation. They were writing all the time. Going back to the August 5th, 1966 interview that Paul McCartney and John Lennon did with the BBC, Paul McCartney, we're talking about biological Paul McCartney, blew that out of the water. And then the BBC interviewer says, I always thought it was quite impossible to write that many songs on the spot.
Do you have gentle advice? This other's company.
It's really hard to do this.
If they,
because I want to pick this up, but I can't hold the camera. And
star person,
sorry, I just wanted to show you like what I'm working on.
identified, I'll say her, at the time as somebody
Oh,
who was
my
single,
throat
who was
is
powerful,
so
somebody who
raw.
they had respect for. They thought she was really giving. They thought she was really powerful. But then why is she sitting in front of a volcano?
In general, it does brighten it up, as you can see. And I'm just going to have to go with what I got right now, y'all. Because also it's like practically St. Patrick's Day and I'm late getting the Valentine's decorations down. Okay, here's the finished product. Lots of things that, you know, my Virgo part is like the perfectionist. And I just have to let it go because I had to make do with greens that made me angry and make a bunch of changes. And then it was just messy and I don't have great brushes and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we got it done. Totally disassembled it. Did turn it into something a little more colorful and ridiculous and hopefully brings a smile. Let's go hang it up. Bring some joy to the world, hey? Here today, leprechaun tomorrow. Looking good.
Because the heaviness of life this past year, it was just palpable everywhere. And it wasn't just me. Decorating the windows inspired people to look up. You know, in the city, people avoid looking at you. And everyone's got headphones on or they're looking into their phone. And I just wanted people to look up, lift their hearts and be delighted. And just that became an act of resistance. Sharing delight and joy is an act of resistance. So decorating the windows gave me a way to bring this to the neighbors and to strangers. I love history and hearing stories about the old days. While fixing up this house in Fells Point, I would often talk to my 82-year-old neighbor, Myrna, about all the changes she's seen in the area over the years. Once I even bumped into the brother of Zepe, the man who owned the house for 40 plus years, back when the neighborhood was at the height of its Polish glory, and he shared some gems. But the coolest history lesson about the neighborhood and the house came from these guys at a business called Salvage Arc.
Who are you? What are we doing?
Hi, I'm Evan, also known as Salvage Arc on Instagram, and we are here in Fells Point at your house, Trixie, and we're actually in your backyard, and we're about to start digging a privy that is located right here in the back corner. Now, this privy would have been used during the 1800s. It basically was like the house's trash can because you didn't have trash pickup before about World War I. So what better place to throw your trash than a giant hole you already had in your yard, right? So you have a nice piece of transferware here, a little blue pattern. Not sure which one it is, but it's pretty. Like a good necklace.
Yeah, I know. That's so pretty. I love that blue.
Evan and his friends met at the Baltimore Bottle Club, which is a gathering place for history nerds to have show and tell with their scavenged treasures, mainly antique bottles that they would dig up.
This is a torpedo soda, Gardner and Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And Baltimore had numerous companies that bottled soda in this type of bottle. And they were the only city on the East Coast that actually used this type of bottle.
And it had to stay on its
copied
side. You say that.
Well,
explain again?
this is how they bottled soda in England. So most of the people in the United States would, they had these bottles that squat, that were, that sat up on its own, like a modern bottle. Anyway, for whatever reason, Baltimore did it this way.
They're really cool.
Yeah.
What kind of soda would it be?
They had probably maybe ginger ale, or they had flavors.
Lemon and strawberry. On advertisement for banana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what were you saying?
So we're looking at the 1879 Sanborn. You can see your house was a 2-story wood frame with 2-story brick addition and a little wood frame porch or something on the back.
Uh-huh.
And then by 1914, it's a large 3-story brick building.
Oh, wow.
So this is the current footprint, is what it looks like. So I would suspect that they probably tore the whole house down at one point, basically rebuilt.
Really?
Yeah.
In 1914?
Well, sometime between 1879 and 1914.
Okay.
So if you look at these beams, see the saw marks are
Yeah.
curved because it was cut with a circular saw. So that means it's late. So earlier buildings, these beams are all going to have straight up and down saw marks because they're pit sawed by hand.
Wow.
Or the first even mechanical sawmills had mechanical up and down saws. So yeah, so that's a key that you could see. See how they're curved because it's a circular saw blade.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that was invented until at least the 40s or something. So yeah, so that's something you can look at, and you can see the beams are they're pretty uniform. That's the other thing. So when you you can see it here. See the saw marks really well.
Yeah.
That's a key giveaway. And then like this flooring, this is your original tongue and groove flooring. That's pretty typical. Again, it's all machine made, whereas the old stuff is all hand cut. So if this was an 1820s house, this would all be hand cut flooring. These would be hand cut beams.
Right.
So let's look at the back.
I learned so much from these guys and really appreciated the picture of historical Fells Point that they helped flesh out in my imagination.
Tell me how it went today.
It was a fun day. We finished the hole. Nice wood liner, about 6.5, 7 feet deep. Got a good collection of stuff. Mostly a lot of pottery, which is always fun.
Fun pottery.
Yeah, that'd be fun to put together. But it was a good time. So thanks again for letting us dig here.
Thank you guys. It was really fun. And you were in the whole
cool.
day.
Patrick in the hole. Yeah, thanks for letting us back here.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks.
And you guys Here's a little progress update. Made a table out of 2 doors. Had to clean them up a bit. Just very lightweight doors and taped them together. And so now I'm gonna try to deal with all this.
I love animals. I'm such an animal person. I always have been since I was a kid. And I grew up with dogs and cats and hamsters and even had pet rabbits when I got a little bit older. I just love animals so much. But there is one animal in particular that has become deeply intertwined with my life, and that is the dog. And maybe it's because Women Who Run with the Wolves had such an impact on me. That book was really huge for me because it remembers to me that we can be in the world, but not of it. That there's a part of us that always has to stay a little bit wild. The first job I had when I left New York and moved to LA was as a dog walker. I spent 3 years in service to these furry friends. So sometimes they get, kind of out of whack when they're in service to humans and cooped up all the time. And it was my job to remind them of who they are, to play the way that breed plays, to socialize them. I called my truck the Rolling Clubhouse for us, and we would go on adventures. Another reason I suspect that dogs will always be intertwined with my life is because I sustained a pretty serious injury from one during those years in LA. I was bit in the throat by a dying and distressed Rottweiler who passed away a few weeks after. And it was a really serious injury, but I feel like I became part dog after that. It was like I could read their minds and their hearts, and I just became a little bit more tuned into them after that injury, strangely. But 2025 was a continuation of this mission. First, I had work walking a dear friend's dog named Luna. I would walk her 2, sometimes 3 times a week. Have I bitched enough about my truck being on the West Coast and me being on the East Coast? If not, I'm bitching about it again right now because it's cold to be riding a bike. Although I'm really glad to be having this bike. Just got it all up and running.
Hands are free. There she is. Hi. Hi, my friend. Hi. 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 Oh my gosh. It's so cold out. Let me see that butt. Let me scratch that butt. Let me scratch that. Oh yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that belly. What's this? Come on. Oh yes. Look at this. It's all heated up for you. We got it all heated up and everything. Oh yes. Get it all stirred up for her. Oh. Yeah, do you want to smell? You want an advanced taste? She likes it.
And Luna passed away shortly after this was filmed. She made her way back over the Rainbow Bridge, and I was really happy to have spent some time getting to know her. Of course, life is an endless cycle of death and rebirth, and literally right after the loss of Luna, I took a job teaching yoga for a company called Yoga and Puppies. I couldn't actually believe this was a real thing. Like, I was still suspect until I actually showed up for work. But this is a chain of what I'll call experiences. You can't even call them yoga studios, and they don't even set up like permanent spaces. They just rent out spaces. But it's all over the country, and it's kind of just this experience, of yoga with puppies. So I had to set aside any and all preciousness about the yoga in order to take this position. 25 years of study, training, practice, teaching basically just went out the window because it was just a puppy party. And different puppies were brought in from different local breeders every weekend and just let loose. Oh my goodness gracious. There were 2 or 3 staff on hand to clean up after them. The cleanup was really intense, and there were just classes on the weekends, basically. And so I enjoyed my puppy time. The yoga part was really not very satisfying. So I stayed a few months at this job. You know, it was just so sweet to get to see them in such a pure state. I loved it so much. I was particularly surprised how much I loved schnauzers. I'd never spent this much time with schnauzers. So that was like a fun surprise to get to know this breed. I found them to just be the most charming little old grandpas that I ever saw. I stayed a few months at this job until, you guessed it, I got another call to be of service to dogs out in California. I came back out here to take a few-week dog sitting job in May, under the pretense of taking care of these dogs, but it was also my segue back into a place that I love. Okay, you guys, we are wrapping this episode up, and I just want to share a little story before this last segment, because it is the most humbling part of this episode, which is me singing. And one of the reasons I subject you to me singing all the time is because I confront this fear on purpose frequently. I started putting singing and songs into my Christmas shows in 2022 and 2023, and I just keep jumping off that cliff, you guys. It's very, very, very humbling for me, because it's tied up with a very deep wound. When I was just starting college, I had a kind of large role in this musical, and my boyfriend's family at the time came to see me in this play, and afterwards my boyfriend's father said, "Oh wow, you weren't kidding, you really can't sing." And I was like, what kind of asshole are you? Oh, God. It really kept me from singing for 25 years. I'm not even joking. As much of a performer and as much stage training as I've had, like, I was just like, oh no, I don't sing. I don't do that. So now I'm just like, I guess when you get older, you're just like, fuck it. I don't care. I need to sing. I have to sing. It's our fifth chakra. The spiritual part of me knows that singing to nature, that brings her back to life, brings me back to life. So why would I not do it? You know, I mean, every spiritual tradition has music as part of it. So music is really for everybody. It really doesn't matter how it sounds. It's the feeling in your heart, you know, and think about it. It's like our throat chakra is right above our heart. It literally like lifts up and out of our heart. It carry our emotions out. So it's very important. It's become more important to me over the years. And so one of the ways that I just confront this fear is by just doing it for y'all and doing it on stage. So here's a couple clips of me singing. This is a promise with a catch. Only if you're looking can it find you. True love is searching too. It can only find you if you step out into the light, the light. Don't be sad, I know you will. Don't give up until true love finds you in the end. Well, I don't want a knight in armor who would be untrue, or a rich old man who needs a nurse too. No juvenile delinquent trying to learn what to do. I just need a good man to carry me through. I'm a real busted, long-lusted, well-adjusted kind of a woman.
Yeah. Looking for a good looking, slow cooking, powerful kind of a man. Said I'm a big-eyed, strong-thighed, qualified kind of a woman. Looking for a long riding, time-biding animal kind of a man. I mean, I thought his family was like so cultured. They used to go to plays and ballets all the time, and that is not how I grew up. You know, I'm a Gen Xer. They say that we were raised on hose water and neglect and really sat in front of the TV when we weren't just kicked out in the woods till dark. So, you know, they were very cultured by my standards. And so it really, I mean, I took it to heart, honestly. Like, I kept that little poison dart in my heart for a quarter century, y'all. So I just hope that this really inspires you to just confront one of those fears of your own. I mean, it's just amazing how those things can just fester and stay that way, and it just becomes like a concretized part of the story, and it's just doesn't have to be. It's not the story. I don't care if people like my singing. I still have a voice, and damn it, I'm gonna use it. And I hope you do too. I hope whatever someone told you that you sucked at, I hope you just go out there and prove them wrong, and if you do still suck at it, do it anyway. Oh, don't get me wrong. It's not that I knock it, it's just that I'm not in the market for a boy who can't love only me. Yes, and I'm not saying that I'm poly. All I'm saying's that I'm ready for the person, place, and things who would never pull the reins in on me. So goodbye. I'll be leaving. I see no sense. It's crying and grieving. We'll both live a lot longer if you live without me. I hope you enjoyed this part 2 of a retrospecting adventure looking back at 2025. We only have one more installment left, and I'm very excited to share the shows and the art that I made last year. I saved the best for last, so make sure you come back next Wednesday. If you want to read some of my writing, check out my Substack blog. The link is in the description, and I still, in my website store, trixielittle.com/store, have about 10, maybe 12 copies left of my Suit of Wands tarot deck printing, which I just did in December. So you can check those out and give this channel some love, give it a like, you know, do all things. I appreciate you so much for being here. This has been really fun. I'm Trixie Little, your favorite artist in the wild. Oh!